This is the last launch for the year. It's a small 346 unit at Jalan, Jurong, Kechil. Is this worth your time? This is my honest review of the SEN. Hi, I'm Sarah X Miracle and I make videos like this every single week to help families like yourself make family-centric decisions. I'm a mom of four, I'm a content creator. I'm also a specialist in the 9, 10, 11, 21 areas. I also do land it all around Singapore. But if you have a need for a customized game plan, no matter where you stay in Singapore, I'd be super happy to help you out. If you like my videos, you want more real estate insights, click the like, subscribe, and notification button, and I'll hope to see you again in the next video. Before we get into it, I want to share with you what is the breakdown and why this video is so important for you to understand, because we are heading into 2026 very, very soon. Now, there are not going to be any more new launches for the year because all the land banks have been developed, designed, and already marketed. We've had crazy, insane 99% sold out at Sky, 86% sold out at Faber, Penrose 89%. Look, we're talking about insane percentages of sold out. And at the time of recording of this video, we haven't had the booking done for Zion Grand yet, and then the SEN is going to be coming out preview. And if you're watching this, wondering what to do because you didn't get any of the launches and thinking whether SEN is worth it, well, I'm going to share with you some perspectives on the SEN itself before we then talk about what else you can do for the rest of the year if you didn't manage to get any of these bookings. So let's get started. I'm going to show you right now on my screen just an overview of what is the SEN. Is it called the SEN? Now, we're wondering always when we talk about development, who is the developer? Because the developer will give you a sense of the track record and also whether or not the quality of the development, finishes, the fittings are going to be something that you feel like you can enjoy, because that's the whole point. You buy a new launch because you want something that is new, right? So the developer are the developers of Sky Everton, 1 Mayor, 3 Cuscaden, and Coastline Residences. They have about 20 years of experience, and I would say that they are still a very boutique developer because you don't see many of these, being like in big developments. So to be honest with you, the track record of the developer is not going to be like a huge brand name like UOL, Singland, Guacoland, Capital Land, CDL, right? Far East, none of these. But we want to give them a chance because they do come from construction-related businesses. Okay, so Holy Group, this is from a construction-related business. And then you also have Great View, which is also involved in Tran Park, which is one of those blockbuster mega RCR launches that has been really, really well sold as well. So if we are talking about developer-wise, you don't have a big brand name developer. They do come from building and construction backgrounds. So the quality of the development and the experience of the developer may not be as deep or as broad, but it doesn't mean that they have zero experience. So we do want to give them a chance because, everyone wants to root for the underdog. Okay, so I would say do not judge, okay, just because there's no brand name, right? Because they have already done some previous works, just that they may not be big developments, okay? So again, this is sizably 347 units. We're going to have 347 car park lots, which is great, which is 1:1. You're definitely going to have 10 EV lots, 60 bicycle lots, and you're going to have 2 childcare lots. So what's nice is that there are going to be childcare facilities and childcare center within this development. And if you know Upper Bukit, Timah, right, this entire district, this is very, very family oriented. Why? Because there are lots of nice schools nearby, right? You have Bukit Timah Primary, you have Pei Hwa, you have MGS, right? So we're on like the fringe of Bukit Timah. And of course, if you go up further, you do have Bukit Batok where you have a few more, even more schools over there. But we're on the fringe of Bukit Timah. So if there are families who want to get their children into the Bukit Timah schools, especially more like MGS, Pei Hwa, District 21 is the #1 prime district to be at. I'm an MGS girl. Woohoo! Shout out to all the MGS girls. And at Methodist Girls School, you get an affiliation all the way through to even the integrated IB program. So we're talking about this location being somewhere that's in close proximity to that kind of schools. Pei Hwa as well, Bukit Timah Primary. These are quite established schools as well, so do take note. Now, one more thing to note is that this particular land, okay, was bought January 2025, which is very, very good. Like the developers came up with the plans already within this 1 year to try to launch it to you, right? So they're really doing their best to get all the plans approved for launch. And if you look at the unit distribution right now, I think I would safely like to say out of 347 units, they actually have, I would say, a nice number of larger sized ones. So you're talking about 90, 40, 40. You're talking about 170 units out of 347. So half the development is actually 3-bedroom and above. So that reflects quite a lot of sensibility, right, for the developer to me, because it means that they are thinking much more about families in the area, right? And rather than trying to make like the smaller units, right, that actually don't sell that much. In fact, only 10 one-bedroom units. I mean, why did they even bother, honestly? They should have just cut out the one-bedroom units altogether and put them into more three-bedrooms. But the fact that half the development is three-bedroom and bigger shows that this is going to be a family-friendly project. And that is what interests me, because as a mom, I want my kids to be in a development that actually has other kids, right, to play with and, kind of hang out with. I do feel that already the breakdown on unit mix is super family friendly. Now, looking at the overall site map over here, like where are we? Now, we are just a straight road down Jalan Jurong Kechil, go straight to Beauty World MRTs. We're within 1 kilometer to Bukit Timah Primary School, within 1 to 2 to Keming and Pei Hua. So that's good news for the alumni who want to be. And of course, we are also in the vicinity of a lot of other educational institutes, like I mentioned, Methodist Girls' School. Further down, you will have Ngee Ann, you will have Nanyang, your Port Trong. And of course, if you go up Clementi, then you're going up towards NUS, but that is a little bit of a drive. But what I really like about this area, Jalan Jurong Kechil, is that we're really near the Bukit Timah, Upper Bukit Timah Beauty World transformation. And this transformation is going to be happening and anchored by a very big development called the Reserve Residences, right? And the Reserve is a commercial development, TOP 2028, right? So by the time this one is going to TOP, which I believe should be 2029, right? You're going to have all of the commercial facilities already done for you. So your integrated hub with your bus interchange, MRT, shops, right? Look, Far East, they are genius at doing it. Okay, look at what they did to One Holland Village. They're going to rejuvenate the entire Beauty World area with that integrated, the Reserve Residences. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of newer ones like 8 at BT and The Link, right? That also have that bit of like a small commercial element at the ground floor. And you're going to have the new government funded, right? The market with the library. So the community center is moving from now, it's currently just at the edge of the Toi Drive and Totak Drive, the two roads is in the middle. They're going to move that Bukit Timah CC to be integrated with the market. So it's going to be like a much more integrated and neighborhood experience. So you have the best of both worlds. In Beauty World right now, you have the commercial front where you're going to have a proper mall. Because I tell you, I used to stay in Beauty World and my nearest mall was Gem. Literally, I had to drive via the PIE to go to Gem to get my proper Uniqlo and my H&M and my Love Bonito and whatever it is, okay? So now we're going to have a proper mall at Beauty World. We're going to have the neighborhood element with the wet market, with the hawker center. By the way, the chai dao kueh there is amazing. Okay, the white one, you can call to order in advance. And you're going to have like the library, right? Because in that whole area, there's no library. The nearest library from Beauty World would be Clementi Mall, which is another neighborhood node. So to have that library, that neighborhood element funded by the government, and then the private side funding the commercial end, it is a perfect storm, I'm telling you, for transformation in that area. And even though you are at the fringe, okay, you're a fringe, but please, you're just 2 bus stops down, Jalan Jurong Kechil to Beauty World. You can walk, you can cycle. Okay, so this is going to be a really happening area by the time it's going to TOP, and that is what really excites me about the SEN, even before I get into layouts, right? So you can see, by the way, I didn't even mention that there's so much eating around, right? There's the entire Cheong Chin Nam stretch of eateries, of like supper, right? There's the whole Beauty World Center where there's a McDonald's, there's a Giant. There's a whole bunch of really nice like eateries and amenities in the area, and not to mention, you have the Bukit Timah Nature Reserve, right? And Bukit Batok Nature Park. You have 2 big parks, these reserves, right, within walking distance, cycling distance, and that's where you get to actually go into the rail corridor, and you can use the rail corridor to cycle, run, do exercise all the way up, to Woodlands if you wanted, or you can go all the way down towards Tanjong Pagar, right, through Holland and all of that. It's amazing. So this location, I would say, is not to be trifled with, because it is still District 21. You're still going to be benefiting from all of the new launches that have already been booked in, such as your Reserve Residences, your Link, and your 8 at BT. And look at the pricing. Our land price, $844 PSF. So our starting prices are going to be somewhere around the 2002 to 2004 mark, which is unheard of for RCR right now. Yes, I know Faber launched for cheaper, but that was Faber. Faber is not near the MRT. I would say the Jalan Jurong Kechil is actually walking distance to the MRT. So we're talking about transformation that's happening. We're talking about the reserve prices anywhere between 2006 to 2008 already done in that area. And guess what? Because out of our land price, 841 PSF PPR is unheard of, even cheaper than Dairy Farm, cheaper than Lakeview, cheaper than Thomson View, Bayshore, cheaper than Chuan Grove, okay? All of them are OCR, and we are in our RCR plot, right? Same district as the reserve, right? And look at the pricing. We are going to be entering, right? Literally, if you look at the reserve, right? The highest PSF, 3154, okay, pre-harmonization. And we are a post-harmonization. The launch prices for Dunyan and Holland which by the way, Holland Link is considered District 21 as well, going to be estimated at 2,900 PSF in the same district. So we are literally going to be launching, if at 2002 onwards or even at 2004, we are going to be a cool 20% down from the estimated launch price of the Holland Link site, right, at KAP, which isn't even as close to the Beauty World transformation, right? They got to take a whole MRT, one train stop. But no, first they got to walk down to KAP, then they got to take one MRT, right? For us, we just have to take like 2-3 bus stops down and we are in the thick of everything at Beauty World. So this is really one of the last windows of opportunity that you have to enter this area. I'm talking about District 21, which is at the fringe of Bukit Timah, okay? With all the transformation that's happening, really guys, this price point is unheard of. So I just want to explain to you that lower land cost at this point in time really means that we can actually have better design, better finishing, and better prices to you. Because if we had a higher land price, the developer will be struggling to kind of balance between making a little bit of money, but also not being overpriced for the market. But because we got this at such a good land price, this really means that our likelihood of a good product is higher. So before I get into the layout, I just want to show you some of the perspectives of the development. Okay, it's got really beautiful landscaping that's been planned, a nice feature pool right in front, in fact, multiple pools. Okay, and you can see that we're surrounded by the greenery that I talked about, the Bukit Timah Nature Reserve and all of that. Okay, you have 50-meter lap pool, 11-meter distance, family pools. We have hot and cold baths, and our buildings, okay, the west side is surrounded by a landed housing. The south side will be a future residential, which means that it might be another government land sale. The east has not been released, and the north is their nice Bukit Batok Reserve, and that's probably where you might want to angle yourself if you have a chance to ballot. You might want one of those facing towards the Bukit Batok Nature Reserve. Now, other than the facilities, I would say that they also have some very key areas, such as family areas. So overall, I think you can tell that the developer is very interested to make this something that has wellness, something that feels premium, something that also takes advantage of the nature around to kind of integrate, right, with the nature reserves that are around us. Now, I want to share, first of all, the layouts before we get into picking units. And I think that there is a very nice advantage of being a harmonized project. So if you can look at here, we have a 3-bedroom, 732 square foot. But because we have the aircon ledges being non-strata, you have a pretty nice size of master bedroom, 3.8 meters long and 2.8 meters wide. And the depth of this additional bedroom is also quite long, 3.2 meters as well. And what's nice is that we have the enclosed kitchen, we have a living, right? That's 3 meters wide. So I feel that that's quite respectable for a compact 3-bedroom. Now, compact 3-bedroom because it is a 3-bed, 2-bath. Yeah, we also have a really interesting 2-bed plus study dumbbell format that can be used like for, let's say, if you're a young family or you're a couple, and let's say even if you wanted to use this as an investment unit to lease it out, right? The study could be potentially leased out as a separate room as well. And I like that the kitchen is actually kind of like tucked away in the corner. You don't really see it. Though that said, it is where you enter, you see the kitchen already. So I really don't like this particular part, honestly. It's tucked away from the rest of the house, but I don't like the fact that it is in the middle and it's not at the side, because I would feel that something tucked away at the side would be a bit more advantageous than to be entering through the kitchen. So if someone is busy cooking and you enter through the kitchen, you might bump into them, right? So clearly this was maybe, I would say that this was more like an investment layout. So for families, I do not recommend this. Now this one, okay, now we have a bit of a better layout here where you have a dumbbell as well, and it's a proper size bedroom, 3.2 by 2.6. Okay, so these 2 bedrooms are equivalent, okay? And this one here, so this particular layout, very, very efficient, 872 dumbbell layout. And you can see the master is still 3.7 meters wide over here. That's quite respectable size. You have a household shelter, so in case you have a helper, you can potentially use that. The kitchen is tucked away in a little corner. This likely is going to be glassed up so that you can still see through and see all the way without it feeling like it's too squished. 3.2 meter living room width, which is a bit wider, so that's quite nice. Okay, now we have our bigger 3-bedroom, and this bigger 3-bedroom is quite nice because we also have a utility area over here that I think you can use as a storeroom either from here, right? Or here you can potentially put in, I don't think you put in a helper room, but you can at least put in a storeroom over here, which some people feel that are lacking in those other smaller formats. Because like, for example, this, you have a household shelter, utility, 2.2 meters. Yes, you can put a length of a bed. This is really just fitting in a bed, very, very squishy. Okay, so 3 bedrooms, 3.2 meters wide, and 2 bathrooms. I say this one now you have an enclosed kitchen, so this is quite nice. And then we have the larger right now. This is the show unit, which this is a proper 3-bed, 3-bath. Because you can see we have a utility toilet at the back. You have a 1.7 by 1.7, which is honestly still not big enough to put a helper's bed unless you put a kid's IKEA bed. Guys, what are you thinking, developers, all right? But the point is that you do have a helper's toilet. You can customize a bed for this little utility room if you want to have your helper to just have a sleep over there. You have a dry kitchen area and you have a 5-meter wide dining living area, of which you can move your dining outside if you wish to, and then put your living here. If not, you can put a dining living side by side as well, depending on how you organize the furniture. So this 3-bed, 3-bath 1109, very, very compact. I would say very, very efficient. And again, your RC ledge, your AC ledges are not counted. So this would be equivalent to at least 1,000 to 1,300 square feet in non-harmonized project terms. So nice that they have a dry kitchen area. Ooh, now we have our 3+ study. And this is starting to look even more interesting. Why? Because this 3+ study has a Jack and Jill for my bedroom 2 and 3 over here, which is really nice, right? Because I have 2 kids and I want them to have both their own toilets. I have 2 of them sharing one toilet, and I even have a nice walk-in here with a double vanity of my master, which is very rare to find in 3-bedroom units. 3 bedrooms, you just have like a normal single kind of sink. And you have a powder room for your guests. And not only that, you have a study. So if you had a little baby, this can be the little baby's room, right? If not, it can be your work from home. We still have a nice wide 5-meter living dining area, a dry kitchen outside, wet kitchen here, utility room, and a helper's toilet. Wow, this is like the perfect kind of like 3+ study format for like young families. I really like this. And by the way, this is the one that is facing towards the most likely going to be the prime units that there'll be, I guess they might cause a bit of a premium on the PSF. But still, even if PSF was 2004, 2005, you are buying at a few years ago price because we already know reserve has transacted as high as 3,100 PSF. Of course, that is integrated with the commercial side, but we're talking about West Same District here, right? So you're sitting on a paper gain already of easily 400 PSF, even if you bought at 2,400 PSF. Another one, this is the show unit. This is going to be the 4-bed plus study. I think this is really, really incredible. Now, you have a 5.4 meter wide balcony, dining, living, that whole area. Okay, so that's nice and spacious now. That is almost the same as Pine Tree Hill's 4-bedroom, 5.8 meter wide. So you're just a little bit down from the 4-bedroom of Pine Tree Hill. You have, again, that retained Jack and Jill, bedroom 2 and 3. You have the master bedroom with a double vanity walk-in wardrobe, so nice. And you now have an additional junior master bath. Okay, but do note that the junior masters will be facing inwards towards the inner part of the building. So there's not going to be any view over here, but there will be at least a window facing outwards this way. Okay, so you see you'll be facing inwards to the other block. So what I really enjoy about this is that this really feels like a full family house. Because if I have multi-generational, I have my parents staying with me. I can give my parents the junior master. And then my 2 children can still be here. If I have a baby, I can still use this as a baby room or work from home study. Perfect. Powder room retained. Wet kitchen looks like a sizable size. The fridge is a double. Oh my gosh, it's a double door fridge now. And we know big families need double door fridges. And your dry kitchen still has an induction, which is really cute. That means that I have electrical points over here. I can do my coffee in my morning over here. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And look, there's very little wasted circulation space, okay, compared to the other layout. There's a lot more wasted space on the circulation here in the 3+ study. In the 4+ study, this has been eliminated mostly. So I would say you got the chance to buy the 4+ study. This is the point block. You got windows in all of the bathrooms. And your master bedroom, by the way, this is 5 meters. Okay, this is 5 meters. This length is 5 meters. So that's really great. Wow, I am impressed, guys. I am so impressed. So look, you have bus stops. Okay, so talking about layouts, I feel that the layouts are really thinking about family living. You're talking about Jack and Jill's, right? Talking about having additional powder room for guests. And I know a lot of us like to entertain, right? We need our houses to be hosting people, make them feel welcome. Hospitality is at the heart of how our families live and grow. And I love that. I love that there is a powder room for hospitality, right? I am all for hospitality. We host people all the time. Just to give you a preview of this, I believe that, in summary, the layouts, family friendly. The unit distribution, family friendly. We're talking about amenities nearby, family friendly. Not just the shopping and the MRTs and whatever it is, but also the nature, because our children need to be exposed to nature, right? What is the point if we live in a mall? I'm so sorry if you bought the reserve, but what is the point if you live in the mall? Okay, yes, they can also walk to the back of the rail corridor. Okay, they also have the proximity, but we have Bukit Batok Nature Park, and we also have the Bukit Timah Nature Reserve. Look at this, right? Just being in between both, right, means that we have a lot of greenery, a lot of green, and we're going to be really cool. It's going to be a very cooling site because because of the greenery that is surrounding us. And by the way, if you're wondering, is the downtown line a good line because this is nearest to Beauty World? Please, the downtown line is the best line. From Beauty World, it takes you to Newton only in 6 stops. Like, my daughter loves the blue line because we used to stay Beauty World and we missed Beauty World because of all the amenities, the conveniences, and then the connectivity. By the way, the PIE is also just a short drive down the access point. So if you're heading out to anywhere else in Singapore, it's there. If you're going north to Woodlands, let's say you want to go JB, the BKE will take you up to Woodlands as well. So very, very close with that. We are really towards the edge, really going towards the greenery. If you're going to be at the other sites that are going to be adjacent to it, like let's say on this site, right? You're not going to enjoy the same kind of facing. So if you want to have the greenery views, you need to be part of the ballot. I want to encourage you to have a look at this because for a few reasons, the low entry price of PSF, the layouts make sense for family friendly, and the location and conveniences we're talking about, we're going to have a lot of transformation in the area just nearby, but we're not in the hustle and bustle of it, but we're going to benefit because we're in the same district. By the way, 10th is going to be the tallest floor that we have. So this entire development will not be like, oh, we have somebody higher than us, okay? These are going to be 10 floor developments, low density because we are near the landed estate. So we can't be having like skyscrapers all around. Just to share with you, these are some of the views that we're going to be getting. Okay, from the 10th floor, there's so much greenery all around. There's so much greenery. There's so much to choose from. Now, one of the things that I wanted to share with you as well in terms of a breakdown is the profitability of units not near MRT versus near MRT. Because a lot of people think, oh, near MRT will make more money. But you know what's the thing? Near MRT, they also cost more money. And that's why the exit plan, like when you're trying to exit, you need a lot more, right, in terms of the appreciation to get the same capital gain, right? I'm talking about absolute capital gain compared to, let's say, Normanton, Whistler, key residences, by the way, of which my parents bought one, Florence residences that are not exactly near MRT, but because they are good projects, large kind of like scale projects, they have benefited still from having a good profitability. Now we're talking about 687,000 on average profitability at key residences. Isn't that amazing? So I want to wrap up by comparing the layout and the effect of harmonization of this project compared to existing projects in the area that have either already sold or are already TOP'd. Now, I want to compare firstly the 3 bedrooms because I'm not going to be doing too much of 2 bedrooms because we're talking about family-friendly units here, and the 2 bedrooms are more for couples, investment, all of that. So I'm going to skip all of that, show you the 3 bedrooms and how they compare. So for example, the SEN 872 with harmonization compared to the 947 square foot of Holland, which had a whole bunch of AC ledges, is almost equivalent in terms of internal sizing. They also have a much bigger balcony that can be shared over there. They have a household shelter, of course, over here, and they also have window ledges, these little bay window thingies, right, that we are actually not having anymore in our new developments. So we're talking about a really nice wide 3.2 meters width. We have a utility room and you have a nice kitchen area over here. Your bath has a window, which this one does not have any windows. And we are talking about an estimate harmonization effect, right, of this property to actually be valued at about $2.5 billion, right? It's already transacted, by the way, at 2.35. Now, if we really can get this at 2,300 PSF, which is roughly the price matrix we're talking about, you can get a $2 million 7.2 square foot, 3 bedroom with a more efficient layout. You're saving $500,000 over here compared to the Foret. Let's look at the next one, the larger 3 bedroom, the one that has that utility room. If we're going at a 2,300 PSF estimate, which is the median launch pricing that they are suggesting, we're talking 2.152 with no aircon ledges is 936. So we're actually having more space because this is 1,000 with a huge aircon ledge at the side over here. Right, so the estimate of this would be roughly about 2.247, actual transaction 2.1, with potentially saving $94,200. We're also going to compare the Foret to the SEN, and you can see the Foret also had a huge aircon ledge here. So 980, honestly, including the effect of harmonization, this would now be worth about $2.6 million. But the inefficiency is there, and we are going to be a more efficient layout because we don't have the aircon ledge. So internally, we have more space. Comparing to Verdale, it's a similar effect. I won't go through everything. Now look at the larger 3 bedroom. Now this is the 3 bath with the additional helper's toilet here at the back. Now the helper's toilet here at the back, they don't actually even have one. Look at that. They have a study, but they don't have a helper's room at the back. So the 1109 has all these balconies and aircon ledges compared to our small balcony, no aircon ledges. So this would now be roughly looking at $2.5 million, and we would be saving more usable area, right? About $40,000 worth of more usable area. Similar effect to the Foret, which has a large aircon ledge over here, and then like window ledges that can't be used. And now I want to compare to the Reserve because the Reserve is the one I was talking about. And by the way, the reserve transacted at 2.89 at average of 2,500 PSF. So 2.89 already transacted. Harmonization effect will make it a 3 mil property. We are only transacting an estimated of 2.5 to 2.6. I would say have a nicer living dining, wide kind of like, landscape living dining area. And we don't have the wasted aircon ledgers and much smaller balcony because this balcony extends to the bedroom. And so internally, you can look 1119, 1109. We actually have more space internally. We're saving $500,000 over. So now we're looking at the larger floor plates to compare. Okay, if you look at the reserve, aircon ledges, window ledges, okay, that are included. We are saving around $572,000 because this is likely, if we can get it at 2,300 PSF, going to be within, okay, $3 million. This one already transacted 3.2 mil, 2665 PSF. Harmonization effect, it would be eventually worth about $3.4 million. So we're talking about, again, a savings of almost 600,000 over here. I love this. I compare this 4+ study, okay, because the Verdale 1873, okay, without the airspace, because this was already transacted 3.398 with such big balconies and AC ledges. Now it was still, after harmonization effect, it will be $3.6 billion. Right now, we have opportunity to buy in at around 3.34. So we're saving $300,000. Oh my goodness, point book design, 4 units per floor only, right? And all the bedrooms have ensuite access compared to this one where you have to still share this common bath. There's no powder room on this side. Can you imagine how can a 1453 square feet fit so many more things, right? So much more programming, be so efficient, right? Compared to a 1873, which without airspace is a 1410. So this was sold as a 1873, right? Because of the double volume height. It's amazing. And then of course you can look at the reserve, the 4-bedroom. Okay, we have a much better layout. This has an angle over here. Okay, private lift comes out, you have a angle, right? And our living and dining is a vertical format. It's not horizontal. It's not landscape the way ours is. So we has a much better layout. This transacted at $3.5 million. After you factor in harmonization, it might be about 3.8 by the time people want to sell it next time. It's 1475, but with all these window ledges as well. Odd angles, okay, of your dry kitchen. Odd angles over here. Look at this odd angle. What is this angle going up with the reserve? And a weird flexi space at the back. What is this for? Right? I mean, yeah, okay, you can say that it's a helper's area, but why is there a door, right? So this is not making sense. And the household shelter is right in the middle here of the whole house. Are you going to really put your helper inside this household shelter? I mean, this is crazy, right? Whereas you look here, I mean, our utility is tucked away at the corner. We're very, very efficient. Again, all the bathrooms have ensuite access compared to this, right? And we still don't even have this one, okay, doesn't have a separate dedicated powder room. We have a common bath that's being shared over here for the bedrooms 2 and 3 for the 4-bedroom. And by the way, there is a bathtub over here that's taking up space, which not a lot of people like. So honestly, with a much better layout, and it's only going to be estimated $3.4 million compared to already transacted 3.5 poorer layout, right? And with harmonization effect, this is going to be around 3.8 in the future. Now, why am I doing so much research to share with you? Because when you buy a home, you want these 3 things. You want a first mover timing, which is renewed in the market. And we can see that because there are going to be other residential plots nearby that will be released in the future that have not been released yet. This means that specific hyper locale, we're still going to be the first plot. The second thing is that we're going to have a layout advantage because as you can see from my comparisons of all the layouts I've done, which is very important for you to understand within District 21, you will see that we have much more efficiency because of the harmonization effect. The developer, because of the low land price, thought through the design a lot more, right, than what they're doing at the reserve, the Foret, and all the other, the Daintree, all the other things I've shared with you. Number 3, pricing advantage. PSF for land, only 840, okay, unheard of for RCR, and even cheaper than OCR. So these are layers of protection. We're talking about safe entry, good layouts, good amenities, good location, first mover advantage because your hyperlocation may have more residential sites in the future, while taking advantage of the other new launches that are already sold and being developed right now in the area, making our entry lower than theirs, more efficient than theirs, and safer than theirs. So this video was already long enough and I have done my extensive review of the SEN. If you are still needing some convincing and you want to have an honest chat about your consult, whether this is the right property for you, please give me a call. By the way, we have to still go through a ballot process. There are only 347 units, so you may not get this unit. And if you don't, or you are watching this and you already missed it, you missed out on Sky, Faber, Penrose, Zion Grand, Promenade Peak, River Green, you missed out on all these launches in the second half of this year, do not fear because there's still opportunity for you. And that's going to be my next video that I'm going to talk about on what to do if you didn't get any of these launches, because these are all by ballot. So by God's grace, if you get a good ballot number, congratulations. And I hope that you'll consider calling me to help you with selecting the right unit for your right family and making sure that your finances are in place. So if you want a personalized consult to map out your 5-year, 10-year game plan, because our homes are not always forever homes, right? We may need them for a season, right? It's always useful to think about the 5 to 10-year horizon as well. Please, I will be so happy to do a really nice chat with you. We can sit down and have a look and really plan out together. Okay, so I make videos like this every single week. I'm Sarah X Miracle. You can follow me as well on all my other social media channels. I hope you give us a subscribe, a like, hit the notification button so you can be updated on all of our real estate insights that I'm giving to you from a family-centric point of view. I started out being a little bit skeptical about the SEN, but now that I have analyzed and looked at the layouts for myself, I think you can be convinced that this is going to be one of those good family buys. Even though you can say it's a small development, that doesn't mean that we won't be able to have a good exit in the future because we're entering at a very safe price. All right, guys, look out for the next video where I'm going to share what you can do if you didn't get any of these launches, because I want you to know that there is always hope. See you soon.